They brought a blind girl to paint the future, but when she finished, no one in the kingdom could speak because the painting didn't show the future. It exposed the truth they were hiding. In the ancient court of Dravenmore, there was a ritual older than the kingdom itself. No one remembered when it began, only that it had never been broken. Every 7 years, on the night when the crown renewed its dominion over the fractured provinces, a single seer was brought before the full assembly, not to speak, but to paint, because words could lie. Words could be shaped, softened, redirected into something comfortable. Words could serve power, but paint endured. Once placed on the canvas, it refused to change, and so the court trusted what it feared. The seers were always chosen from those without power, always omegas. The doctrine behind it was simple. True sight required surrender, a mind that did not impose itself upon reality, but allowed reality to pass through it untouched. Power corrupted that ability. Those who ruled bent the world. Those who bent the world could not see it clearly. So the burden of truth was placed on those who could not afford to distort it. For decades, the High Council had maintained control over this ritual. Every painting had been acceptable, stable, reassuring, each one confirming that the kingdom was secure, that the king's rule was unshakable, that the future would look very much like the present. Until this year. Because this year, something went wrong. The chosen seer collapsed 3 days before the ceremony. The official statement described it as sudden illness, unfortunate, regrettable, unavoidable, but not suspicious. No one questioned it publicly, but one person did. Lyra Vale, 22 years old, Omega born, blind since birth. Not partially, not imperfectly, completely. She had never seen light, never seen shadow, never seen color, and yet she understood them better than most. She worked quietly at the Oris Institute, a place that identified gifted omegas and shaped them into something useful, something controlled, something safe. But Lyra had always been different. Other seers described their visions as images, flashes, fragments layered over reality. Lyra did not see, she knew. Her gift was not visual, it was absolute. A quiet certainty that settled inside her with a weight that could not be argued with. She did not paint what appeared, she painted what was, and that made her dangerous. The council had never intended to choose her, but they had no choice. The ritual could not be delayed. The court demanded its truth, even if no one was ready to hear it. She was summoned at dawn. Lord Theron arrived himself, a man whose presence carried authority like a second skin, measured steps, controlled breath, every movement deliberate. Lyra recognized something else in him too, something beneath the surface, decay. Not loud, not obvious, but there. "You understand the responsibility," he said, not a question. "I understand the ritual," she replied. A pause. "I do not yet understand the intention." Silence followed, brief, sharp. "The process is clear," he said. "You will paint. The council will interpret." "The council," she said quietly, "not the truth itself. It must be made understandable." She tilted her head slightly. "I will need my own paints and my own tools." A beat. "Of course. And what I create," she continued, "will be shown exactly as it is." This time, the silence lasted longer. Then, "Yes." But his voice had changed, careful, uncertain, as if he had just agreed to something he did not fully control. That night, Lyra did not sleep. She sat alone in a vast chamber, her hands resting in her lap, and let the knowing come. It always came. Not like a vision, not like a message, but like something already decided, waiting. She had known for 3 days what she would paint, not because she had chosen it, but because it had already chosen her. The only question was whether she would allow it, because truth had a cost, and she was not naive. Courts did not reward inconvenient truths. They erased them, quietly, efficiently, without leaving marks. She sat in the darkness and considered the price, and like always, she arrived at the same answer. The alternative was worse. To know and remain silent was a slower kind of destruction. By morning, she was ready. The Hall of Dominion was vast, built to overwhelm, built to remind every person inside it exactly how small they were. Hundreds gathered, nobles, advisors, commanders, observers, all waiting, all expecting something predictable, something safe. Lyra was led to the center. She could feel them watching, judging, doubting. She's blind. This is absurd. She looks like a child. She ignored them. She always did. Her hand touched the canvas, large, cold, waiting. The room fell silent, that fragile moment before expectation breaks. She did not hesitate. She began. The first stroke, crimson. The air shifted immediately. She felt it, the way tension moved through a room when something unexpected appeared. She continued, steady, precise, each movement guided by certainty. The murmurs began, then faltered, then changed, because what was forming on the canvas was not what they expected. At its center, the king, not as he was presented, but as he existed beneath presentation, stripped of ceremony, stripped of illusion, surrounded not by enemies, but by shadows, familiar ones, trusted ones, faces that belonged to the court itself. The silence deepened because they understood. This was not a painting of war, not invasion, not external threat. This was something worse, something closer, something already inside the walls. Lyra continued. She did not rush. She never rushed, because truth did not hurry. It simply arrived and forced itself to be seen. She reached for darker tones. The atmosphere shifted again, heavier, colder, more final, because now the meaning was undeniable. This was not about death. It was about consequence, about something long ignored finally becoming visible. She finished, stepped back, and the silence that followed was absolute. No whispers, no movement, just the weight of realization. Lord Theron stepped forward. The interpretation will no. The voice cut through the hall, clear, controlled, final. Lady Marin, a figure older than most, yet sharper than any. The work belongs to all who see it. The balance shifted, instantly, irreversibly. The king stood, and for the first time moved without guidance, without advisors, without protection. He walked toward the painting, alone. "I want to understand," he said. His voice was not what they expected, not commanding, not distant, human, unsteady. "What do you see?" Lyra asked. "A throne," he said slowly. "My throne." A pause. "And shadows I recognize." "Yes." Another pause, longer. "This is not my death." "No." "It is the end of something." "Yes." Silence stretched between them, heavy, honest. "How long?" he asked. "Long enough." "And you knew?" "Yes." "And you still?" "I could not do otherwise." That answer settled deeper than anything else, because it was not defiance, it was truth.
The room behind them began to shift, quietly, subtly, like something massive adjusting its weight. "What happens now?" he asked. Lyra turned slightly towards him. "That depends on what you choose." Because the painting did not end. It did not show collapse. It showed a threshold, a moment suspended between what was and what could be. The future was not fixed, but it was no longer hidden. And that changed everything.